This is Michael Woodward, and this is Season 2, Episode 100 of the Jumblethink Podcast.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Jumblethink Podcast, where we interview amazing entrepreneurs about their journey of turning dreams and ideas into reality. Along the way, we share some tips on how you can turn your own dreams and ideas into reality too. Today on the podcast, we are talking about celebrating your victories. More about that in a minute. I want to encourage you, if you haven't subscribed to the Jumblethink Podcast, head on over to wherever you like to listen to podcasts and subscribe to the Jumblethink Podcast. For iTunes, go to jumblethink.com/iTunes, and for Spotify, jumblethink.com/Spotify. It'll take you right to the app, right to where you can subscribe. Now let's jump into today's episode. Hey there, welcome to the Jumblethink Podcast. My name is Michael Woodward. I am your host. We have an incredible episode lined up for you today. Before we get rolling, we always like to take a moment and thank our sponsors for today's episode. We have a new sponsor, and we're super excited about them. Here's a little bit more about Mighty Travels. Are you an adventurer that's ready for your next trip? Well, our friends over at Mighty Travels want to make it so much easier for you. Most of us spend so much time getting onto our devices and searching for the perfect airfare, only to find out later that we missed a better deal. Well, let's stop wasting that money and wasting your time and start scoring great price tickets, often saving around $190 per ticket, and flying the flights we want to fly to the destinations where we want to go. Mighty Travels will help you by getting deals directly to your inbox and to your phone so that you never miss a great deal on the perfect flight. Swing on over to mightytravels.com/jumblethink. That's mightytravels.com/jumblethink to learn more about how you can start saving on booking the perfect fares for your next trip. We also want to take a moment and thank our friends over at Floxy. Here is a little bit more about them. Being a small business owner or an entrepreneur can be hard. If you're like me, your own projects are often the last ones you do. This leaves you without the graphics, website, or copy you need to effectively promote your business and tell your story. Now, what if I told you that there was a better way? Our friends over at Floxy can help you with on-demand, unlimited graphic design, web development, and copywriting with plans starting at a flat rate of $349 per month with no hidden fees. Oh, and their plans are also month to month with a 7-day money-back guarantee for all new accounts. All this can be done with a 24-hour turnaround for most projects and revisions. So check them out at floxy.com. That's Floxy, FLOCKSY.com. Let them know that Jumblethink sent you. Today on the podcast, we are going deep into the topic of celebrating victories. Now, earlier this week, we had a huge milestone and we completely forgot to celebrate it. And you may be asking, well, what was that milestone? We had our 200th episode. Now, I know at the beginning it says Season 2, Episode 100, but that's because it's Episode 100 of Season 2. We now have, actually, today's episode is 201 episodes of the Jumblethink Podcast. It's crazy. It's hard to believe that we've done that many incredible interviews with amazing entrepreneurs, people from all kinds of different backgrounds, from all kinds of different beliefs, whether it's politics, whether it's faith. And they've gotten the opportunity to share their story with you. And we didn't take a moment to celebrate that. So today we're celebrating. We're celebrating 201 episodes. And I want to go deep into the topic of why celebration is so important to our life as dreamers and idea makers. Now, I want you to think for a moment. You probably are as guilty as I am for missing major milestones to celebrate. You know, as guys, we always get the bad rap for missing our wedding anniversaries. And think of all the birthdays of friends and family members that days after you went, oh, wow, I forgot that. Now, on the level of the things you're working on, so often we reach a milestone and we completely blow past it. We meet our expectations or we achieve a new level of excellence in something and we don't take a moment to pause and reflect. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, but There are so many reasons why celebration is a powerful tool to get us from one point to another, especially when we're chasing dreams and ideas. So I want you to take for a moment and start thinking about being more intentional about celebrating and creating celebration as part of your habit in chasing dreams and ideas. Now, here we go. We're going to go into why celebration is so important. Now, I know what you're thinking, that celebration should be held for the big celebrations, birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, whatever that holiday is, whatever that celebration is. And if you're in business, you go reaching a certain dollar milestone. We've achieved over $1 million, or reaching a specific client contract, the finish of a project or the start of a project, and you celebrate landing that new project or wrapping it up. And you think of these milestones as something that have to be epic, but often when we really pause to think, and I want you to think, what are the small things you can celebrate? Here's an example. So let's say that you're writing a book. That's your dream. That's your idea that you want to do. You want to share a message and a story. And so you start out writing that book, and you think about celebrating as the completion of the book. I've completed the book. It's off to the publisher. It's off to the printer. And now I can celebrate. Well, why don't you break that down? Maybe the first place that you celebrate is when you come up with an outline of the idea that you're trying to tell and communicate in the book. And then the next milestone is maybe when you complete chapter 1 or the first section. And as you go, you have these little mini celebrations. And then when you reach that big milestone, completing the book, sending it off to the printer, then you have a really, really big celebration. But celebration doesn't have to be held for the big things. And here's why. These are 6 quick reasons why celebration is so significant to the journey of dreaming and chasing ideas. Number 1, celebration gives us all kinds of excitement to making it through what seems like boring or hard situations. Now, if you're writing that book and you're waiting till the end to celebrate these milestones, it might be a very hard journey. You might hit writer's block. You may hit times where you just feel like it's not worth it. You try to push through when you're ready to give up. And if you use these smaller celebrations, they give us reasons to continue through. And so you can celebrate these things, and celebrating these gives purpose to the purposeless things. So you go, hey, I'm writing this book, and you see the big picture, you see the big dream, but then you don't see the purpose in maybe writing your thank you section or going out and getting reviews of your book, and you see these things as purposeless because you don't know how they work, or they seem mundane, but they become big in the process of celebrating. So celebrations give us a reason to keep that excitement through the drudge. You know, it's winter time right now, and there's a song called In the Bleak Midwinter. And often I think of that song and I think of it as such a beautiful song, but it's actually celebrating the fact that winter can be bleak and long and cold and dark, but it celebrates that. So celebrate the small things, not just the big things. Number 2, it gives us something to look forward to. When we're moving towards something and we set these little milestone celebrations, it gives us a place, a goal to shoot for. It gives us a vision for what's next. And often we lose focus when the vision's too big and we don't see the next step. We see the completed project. So setting these goals gives us something to look forward to in the small process, the small steps to get there. Number 3, celebration allows us to relax and unwind in the midst of busyness and craziness. When you're chasing ideas and dreams, it is a grind often. And if you've listened for any period of time, you know that if there's something I hate more than anything else, it's this lie of hustle and grind. And you need to relax and set time up for relaxing. So celebration gives us that time to relax, unwind, untether, and say, I'm going to shut down maybe for a day or an evening or a weekend, and I'm not going to work hard on this. I'm going to celebrate the victory that I've had. Number 4, it gives us an excuse to get together. So often when we celebrate, we think about ourselves and what we're celebrating, the holiday, the birthday, the milestone, but there are often other people that are a part of this journey, and you should bring them into your celebration. When we had a big team in our web agency, we would look for reasons to celebrate. Maybe it was just taking a break and going out for a movie in the afternoon because we've hit a big milestone on a project, or going out to lunch, or even having a Christmas dinner and doing something fun in the festive season of Christmas. Now you go and say, okay, what does this have to do with celebration? Well, one, celebrating with others makes it more fun. Two, it builds relationship. And whether you're working with a team or you're just celebrating with your family, celebrating together builds relationships. And when you're working hard, when you're working towards a goal and dream, having those reasons to celebrate brings us together so that we can have a common theme in which we're celebrating. And so if it's your victory, bring the people in that helped you reach that victory. If it's something that's just seasonal or a milestone in your business, bring in your team members and celebrate together. But celebrating together is so much better than celebrating alone. Number 5, it allows us to remember the things that truly matter. When we get into the grind of idea chasing and dream making, often we forget about things that matter. And when we celebrate, we see the people around us, we see the achievements we've reached, and we begin to realign ourselves to things that matter. And we get past the grind, we get past the hustle, and into a place of really seeing significance. And finally, number 6, it reminds us of purpose and reasons we started. Often when we get into the grind and hustle, often when we're working, often when we're in that bleak midwinter of our ideas, we forget the reason why, as Simon Sinek says. We forget our purpose. We forget the reasons of why we're going to get there. So these are reasons why celebration is so important into the journey of chasing ideas and dreams. In a moment, we're going to come back and we're going to go a little bit deeper into how you can celebrate, how you set up goals to celebrate, and how you make this an intentional part of your process of chasing dreams and ideas. Chasing your big idea and dream is often a lonely journey filled with fear and obstacles you have to overcome. But you don't have to do it alone. And having a roadmap to get you there, to that achievement place of reaching your dream, is such a powerful tool. We don't want you to do it alone. We want to help you in this journey. That's why we're launching Idea Camps this fall, October 7th through 9th, and we want you to be a part of it. You may be wondering, what in the world is an Idea Camp? Well, Idea Camps are a 3-day event where we come together. We have a lot of fun. We have great keynote speakers, some amazing sessions, some mastermind groups, and at the end of the event, you will have a literal roadmap on what you need to do next to turn those dreams and ideas into reality. So swing on over to jumblethink.com/ideacamps. You can sign up for a free giveaway, and we just launched registration. Now, the event is not a cheap event, but we want you to be a part of it. And in this launch, the first 10 people are getting $1,000 off the registration for this event. You want to know how you can save $1,000? What you need to do is go on over to jumblethink.com/ideacamps. You'll see a button for early registration and the giveaway there. Click that early registration button, and when you fill out your registration, all you have to do is enter code EARLY2019. This will give you $1,000 off. At this event, you'll get not only the speakers and the masterminds and all of the great things that are a part of this event. Included in the ticket is your lodging and also your food. So all you have to do is show up and you'll be taken care of for the 3 days of Idea Camps. So head on over jumblethink.com/ideacamps to learn more about Idea Camps and register now. We also want to thank our new sponsor for today's episode, Mighty Travels. Here's a little bit more about them. I don't know about you, but I love to travel. I just don't like looking through all the websites to find the right fares to the right locations that I want to travel to. Well, our friends over at mightytravels.com are helping you get better rates to the places you want to travel, often saving up to $190 per ticket. You should check out mightytravels.com/jumblethink to learn more about how you can use their service to get the right trips booked for you at incredible rates. So swing on over, check it out, mightytravels.com/jumblethink. Today's episode is also sponsored by our friends over at Floxy. Here's a little bit more about them. Floxy is doing some really cool stuff. Did you ever need a graphic designed a website developed or copywritten, but found that the designers and developers were too expensive and often took a long time to get your project completed? Well, Floxy is your answer. Floxy is your unlimited graphic design, web development, and copywriting team. Plans start at $349 per month with no hidden fees, month-to-month billing, and you can cancel at any time. So check them out for your next project and for the project after that at floxy.com. That's FLOCKSY.com. And let them know that Jumblethink sent you.
Now let's return to our conversation about celebration. We are back to go deeper into this conversation of celebration. I love ideas. I love dreams. I love the concepts behind these things. And we talk about them often in the podcast. But talking about ideas and dreams, talking about concepts is only as good as your execution. We recently had a guest that said that. He said, an idea is only as good as its execution. And so you have to have a plan, a strategy to make this a reality. And I want to give you one right now. In the past, we've talked about micro experiments, and some of this is loosely based on micro experiments. A matter of fact, some of it is micro experiments with some added things in that concept. If you missed the episode about micro experiments, you should go back and check that out and learn a little bit more about how you can utilize them to innovate and create in your business or limit your liability and step into that. But right now, I want to bake in celebration into this model of micro experiments. So right now, the first thing you need to do is take out a piece of paper. That's step number one. Take out a piece of paper. Very simple. Everyone can do it. And so we pull out a piece of paper. We have our pen or pencil in our hands. Next thing we do is we write down the numbers 1, 2, and 3. On slot number 1, what you do is you write down a short-term goal. That can be done in a day or a week. It could start out with, tomorrow I will accomplish X, or this week I will finish this project. Whatever it is, write down a short-term goal that's attainable and realistic, and write that down. And slot number 2, write down a goal that will take a month. Say something like, this month I will do X. For us, our goal, because we're launching Idea Camps, is this month we will register 3 people for Idea Camps, and we will reach out to sponsors to sponsor Idea Camps. So that's our goal for this month. In slot number 3, write down a goal that will take you 6 months to a year. In the next 6 months, I will do X. In 2019, we will generate $1 million in revenue. Whatever that is, write those things down. 3 targets. I want you to, before you do this, make sure that you're breaking this up so that you have enough space to write down beneath each section. So space number 1, leave an inch or 2 or 3 there, and then space number 2, and then some space. That way you can continue to write in this process. Next thing you have to do is step number 3. Write down what you will celebrate with each milestone. This will look like something like this. When I do X, I will celebrate by Y. All right, so that's the formula. How do you actually play that out? It might look like something like this. When I register 3 people for Idea Camps, I will celebrate by going out to a fancy dinner. Or when we get a sponsor, I will celebrate by taking the day off and going to the movies. Well, whatever it is, figure out what that celebration milestone is that correlates to each step. So you've written down number 1, the goal. And then right below it, you're writing down what you'll celebrate for that goal. Number 4 is to start breaking down those goals, those milestones, into smaller tasks. So if your goal for the week is to finish out a project, you may say, to finish out this project, I need to add content. I need to finish getting the photos. I need to create a video. Whatever it is, create those steps. And you could actually then celebrate those little milestones. When I finish X milestone, when I finish creating the video, I will take a 15-minute break and spend some time with my kids. Figure out a celebration moment for each milestone, each smaller step. Number 5, and this is really significant and often left out of this process. We're so self-focused in this process of innovation, of creation, of goal setting and celebration that we forget others. And one of the important tools to being successful in this journey is having an accountability partner. So find yourself an accountability partner. Schedule maybe a weekly or every other week or a monthly check-in where you get on the phone and you talk about the goals, your struggles, your successes, the failures, all of the good, the bad, the ugly of this process, and start keeping each other accountable. So if you're halfway through the month and you go, I want to get 3 people registered for idea camps, but I haven't even told anyone that idea camp registration's open, well, that would be counterproductive for reaching that goal. If you go, I've launched the registration page, I've posted on social channels, but you haven't set out a newsletter for your email contact list, then that's going to hold you back. So having that accountability partner to say, have you done the things you're supposed to do? Okay, great. Have you succeeded or have you failed? Then you talk about the things that you've done well and you celebrate that. That's awesome. That's great. Keep on going. You're doing great. And then when you hit a struggle, oh, that really stinks. You're not hitting your target. Well, let's rip this apart and figure out what's going on. An accountability partner could be a friend in business. It could be a business coach. It could be a mentor. But make sure that you're doing this, that you have those check-ins, that you're talking about the goals, that you're talking about the celebration milestones, and you're processing that together, because that will help you. I love accountability partners for this because it goes 2 ways. You're helping them, they're helping you, and so that's really good. But you could hire a coach or mentor, and that would help you too in this process. And they'll have a specific process for walking you through that to make it a success for you. Step number 6, you need to do a self-assessment at the end of the week for your weekly goal, then to the month for your monthly goal, and at 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever your longer term goal is, that you have to walk through that. So you need to assess what's going on. And I would say that you need to assess more often. So if you have a weekly or daily goal, you should be assessing every day. If you have a monthly goal, you should be assessing maybe a couple times a week or every week in that process and adjusting as you go along. And then finally, when you hit those milestones and you hit those goals, even if you don't always succeed the way you think you should, or that you had failures around that, you should take a moment and celebrate. Figure out your celebration earlier on so that you know what you're building towards, that celebration milestone. But then take the time to celebrate. And then, after you've done all of that, repeat the process. So if you have a weekly goal, you should be setting those every week. Maybe at the beginning of the month, you're setting all the goals for every week. And then if you have monthly goals, you should be setting that every month. And for longer term goals, you should be setting that every couple, whatever that term is, 3, 6, 9, 12 months. But you need to be repeating this process for it to be successful. But you can see how we're using micro experiments, which we've talked about before, but we're now building in a different system to celebrate those in the process. So as you do your dreams, as you chase those ideas that you have, as you figure out the processes, these are steps you can take to make that very tangible and very real in the process. In a moment, we'll be right back to give some final thoughts as we wrap up today's episode. As you've heard, idea camps are now open for registration. We want you to be the first ones a part of it because we have an early registration special going on where you get $1,000 off the ticket, which is pretty incredible. So swing on over to jumblethink.com/ideacamps. You'll see a button for early registration. When you click that, you can learn a lot more about the events, including the schedule, some of the speakers we have lined up, although we have more to announce, what you're going to be learning, and a little bit more about the event. If you want to save big, right now is that time. We have 10 tickets available for early registration. When you go to the registration page, all you have to do is type in early 2019, all one word with the numbers for 2019. So that's early 2019 in the discount code or coupon code space, and you'll get that $1,000 off. Register now so that you get the best pricing that you're ever going to get on Idea Camp. Now let's jump into final thoughts for today's episode.
Levez seulement le bras pour mettre l'aiguille.
Welcome back as we wrap up today's episode on celebration, why it's significant, and how you can do it. I have a question for you. What do you think about celebration? Drop us a comment in any of our social channels, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, to let us know what you think about celebration. Let us know the stories of how you incorporate that into your strategy of building your business, ideas, dreams, whatever it is that you're building. I also want to encourage you, if you've never thought about doing this before and you're a little skeptical about why you should do it or how it works, just give it a try. Use those steps that I gave you to give it a go and see how it can work for you. I think you're going to really enjoy it, and I think it's going to help you in that process of chasing dreams and ideas and then executing on them to create them. As we wrap up today's episode, I always like to encourage you to take steps to make those dreams and ideas reality, and today is no different. It's up to you. You can use celebration as a tool that works for you, or if it doesn't, then don't use it. But everyone I know that's doing this to celebrate these milestones, whether small or big, has seen their execution go much quicker. They've seen their success go up, and they're reaching their goals and dreams in ways they never expected. So get out there and begin to chase these dreams and ideas. Begin to create the world that you want to live in. Once again, we want to thank the sponsors for today's episode, Floxy and Mighty Travels. Make sure to go check out what they're doing. You can find them in the episode notes too. Our guest on Tuesday's episode is Christine Zabel. She is the founder of a really cool company called IntraBoom. We talk about communication at your team, how to collaborate. We talk about women in tech and so much more on this very, very fun episode. And don't forget, we have new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Thanks again for tuning in. Now get out there and chase those dreams and ideas and change the world around you.
Vous êtes une autre personne. Les mères de famille, les enfants, peuvent également prendre un moment revitalisant. Dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps, vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.